welcome to Inner Shaolin. If you've never seen our videos before, make sure you subscribe so you can get some more information from us. Melanie, one of our students, actually asked us to do this video, and we might actually do a couple more videos after this because this is something that can go on and on. There's definitely many different techniques and things. But what happened is one of her daughter's friends had a situation right outside of school where a guy was waving a gun and tried to get her to go into the car. Now she's fine and nothing happened to her. She did the right thing and she went ahead and found cover inside the school and told the proper authorities and everything was taken care of. But she wanted to have us cover just some basic things that you know, anyone, let alone the high school kids, maybe they have experience, they probably don't have any experience, that they could do just to, you know, maybe not get themselves in a bad situation in the first place, you know, things to avoid in the first place, and then what they could do if they end up in a bad situation.
Well, first off, use your brains. I mean, use your intelligence. Don't be somewhere alone.
Right, that would be the first thing.
Don't ever be alone if you can. Be in a group. Again,
if you walk home from school, see if you can have a buddy walk home with you.
Right.
You know.
Be in open areas. Don't be in secluded areas where people feel like they can jump out of the bush or out of a corner. Be in an open area because you can see them coming from a mile away. Walk more towards light than darkness. You know, people who want to attack you, they don't want to be known. You know, they don't want you to see them, much less witnesses to see them.
Right.
So it's best if you have a friend, if you're in an open area, lighted area. Okay. A lot of predators, they track your routines and they actually will learn the patterns and they'll know where you are. So from time to time, change it. When they, you know, go from here, walk this way. Walk
if you walk home or ride your bike home, like go different ways. Yeah.
Do different ways so they maybe if you can stay a little bit here, stay a little bit there, a little bit longer, change the routine time so they can't track your pattern. That's one of the things predators like to do. Okay, so those are just some simple things, but we're going to talk about what happens if someone comes after you, whether it be a bully or a predator. Okay, we're going to talk about some of the most effective ways and the most simplistic ways. Okay, a lot of people teach you this move, that move, and I'm not going to say it doesn't work, but it takes a lot of training for you to get that down because of the technicality behind it. You know, and all these moves. We like to keep it simple and effective. Okay, so one of the most important things is like somebody who grabs your hand. Okay, and grabbing works is a lot because if a guy really grabs a kid, they think they can control him through the grabbing. Right. And they'll drag him. So the kid, you can see like, no, and they get pulled very easily. And a guy through a girl, he feels physically superior.
Right, I would say this is a pretty common thing that high schoolers
very
probably run into, getting grabbed. And
right. It can be grabbed the hands, it can be grabbed the arm and the body. Okay, and I'm going to work with the hands real quick. One of the most effective thing you can do is first understand energy of motion. Okay, there's only two types of motion that occurs, right? Linear motion and circular motion. Okay, most people move through linear motion, and the reason why is because your muscle contracts to pull. Okay, when you contract to create pulling motion, it's always in a line. Okay, so when you pull me, do me a favor, pull me. You see, you're pulling me in a line. Okay, so most people when they do yanking motions or when they're grabbing you in a line motion. Right. So there's only two types of motion, like I said, linear and circular. Now, linear motion is direct point A to point B. Circular motion is a curvature, arcing motion. Okay. Now, what do you get when you combine the two techniques together, or the two motions together? A spiral. Spiraling techniques are the best because it's the best of both worlds. It gives you direct motion, but it also gives you indirect effect in terms of for the opponent. So pull me straight if you can. So you see how you can pull me again. If I curve, no, pull me.
I can't.
Because you can't find the line. Okay, for you to be able to pull me, you need to find the line. Now, resistance don't work a lot of times because I'm going the opposite way when she's pulling me. If she's stronger, she'll win. If I'm stronger, I can win. So if I just pull me, and I use my strength, I can pull. I could overpower her, but what happens if she's much more powerful than me? What if I'm the one doing it to her? Pull me away. Don't let me pull you. Don't let me pull you. It's not going to work. Okay? And the reason why it's not going to work is because she's trying to go against the force. And so it doesn't work. So we're going to understand you want to create spirals. Okay? You want to go in a line and you want to go in a curve at the same time. That's the best of both worlds. Now, the first rule of any type of motion is you must learn to work with it, never against it. If you work against it, pull me, I'm muscling, and normally if she's stronger, she'll wind up pulling. You yank me because not because only because of your force, but because my force resists, it's not strong enough.
Right.
For every action, opposite and equal reaction, right? So if I'm pulling it, I'm not strong enough to overpower it, you're gonna want to pull me.
Right.
So if she creates a pulling motion, you want to learn to work with it. So you can see I'm working with it. Now my wrists, very important. Our power, our control comes from our wrists. So you want wrists to be your action, never your shoulders. If you use your shoulders, you're going to wind up losing a lot of power. So I want you to pull me hard, okay? And I go, oh, she'll pull me. You see? Pull me. Fight. You can see where my motion is going on my shoulder. Pull me. See? I just turned my wrist. And what's good about it is, one, you're not going to strain from your shoulders because the lever. If I use my shoulder, the leverage control between here and here, it strains my shoulders because of the lever. Think of this as a lug nut, and this is a handle. For her to get the most pressure on the lug nut, she gets the most power from here. The closer she goes to here, the less influence she has over me. So you never want to pull from your shoulders to fight someone's power because they're just too strong, okay? If they're much stronger than you, by the way. If they're weaker, then it's another story. But you want to go forward, okay? The rule is shoulder always drives to the elbow. So you always want to push your shoulder down to your elbow. From there, your elbow always wants to push to your wrist. And from there, your wrist must learn to turn to the point of contact. So here's the point of contact. So my wrist wants to turn here. So pull me hard. Okay? You can see, pull me. You see how? Pull me. Oh. And I pull back. It's no good. So you want to have that forward drive. So that's what's going to help you. Understand? If you do that, no matter how strong they are, okay? Now, apart from them counter-curving you, if they counter-curve, if I go like this and she counter-curves me, that's another story. That's skill. But in terms of strength, if she just pulls me as hard as she can, she pulls and pulls and pulls. You can see, you see how she's pulling me? Let's do it again. Pull me. If I go like this, now pull me hard. Now she can't because it's back, coming back. That energy is not going against her anymore. That energy is going to her.
Right.
That's why she can't feel like she can pull past a certain point. So understand, when we feel motion, we feel pressure. Never fight it. If you are fighting it, you're going to have a hard time dealing with it unless you're much stronger. So for those who are physically inferior to the opponent, use their energy against them. Don't use it against yourself. Don't ever go against the energy. Return the energy. So when she pulls me, shoulder drives, elbow drives, wrist must turn to the point. So this is what they'll help you from getting yanked hard. So pull me hard. You see? She has a hard time. Now, I took a step to show you that I can move in. I can yield to it, so it's not like this, like, well, I have to fight. That's just an example. But the stepping you want to do to help alleviate even more. And now, that stepping is going to help you. So when we do this and I move, right, I want this hand to come up to get in between. And no matter how strong, good, breaks the grip.
And the harder they hold on to that, the more it's going to hurt them.
Yes, the more it's going to break the wrist. And the reason why is because we're returning energy. We are not fighting energy.
Right.
Fighting energy is not going back to her body. It's actually going against her force. So it never causes her any pain. It only causes her to fight back harder because she can feel the force and she can lock into that resistance and even pull more. But if she tries to pull and I don't fight her, she can't overpower me. Because remember, you can't overpower something. You can't apply strength on something unless first there's resistance, right? So an example you guys can practice at home is watch. I'm going to have her pull my arm down as hard as you can, down to the floor.
Down.
So she can feel her strength. And you guys can do this experiment too. So pull my arm down, use two hands. So you can feel your power, right? You can feel that. You can even hear your bones snap, right? So do it again, or practice it. You feel all that power. You can see how you can muster all that strength, right? Do it one more time, give it everything you got. No, use your strength. Some of the power that you have.
There's nothing there.
The reason why is because I'm not resisting. So understand, if you don't resist, they cannot overpower you. They can only overpower you if you resist. Pressure only exists if there's oppositional force. So if you fight them, then they can overpower you. So if I'm being pulled, she can overpower me. You need to learn to work with her so she can never use her power against you. You'll learn how to use her power against herself. So when she pulls you, what you want to do is just take a step and bring the arm up. Slap the hand like you're about to clap, but you're just uncoordinated, you actually missed. So it's kind of like putting one hand in front of the other. That motion that you were fed, you use it and turn the body right back. So no matter how strong she is, she can hold me. And I just go like this. And again, she can use all the strength she wants. Use all the strength. Okay? And I can do it with a finger because I'm not really fighting her. I'm just returning the energy to her. So the more she fights, the more she's like, ah. And so if I'm like this to her, okay, and I pull her, she's gonna think of always driving the shoulder to the elbow. She's gonna drive her elbow to her wrist and turn her wrist to the point. Now that's gonna make a curve, you see? She's not gonna pull straight up a line because then I can pull straight down. She's gonna make a C or a backward C without moving the elbow. Because once she moves the elbow, she involves her shoulders. So that's good. Now, I'm still holding, right? That's where the other hand will come in. Squeeze it in between. And the reason why you want that, because it helps create a wedge into that joint. So now my hand, you see it's being compromised. She's going to turn her body into that wedge. And drive down. And there's no way someone can hold you. Okay? We have a lot of rhyming principles. Bent wrist, don't make fist. So we want like this, make a fist as tight as you can possibly make it. Tight, 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 tight. So she can make a good tight grip. Open your hand. And you guys can do these experiments. This is not something that we believe and she's gonna just do it because we believe. This is facts, okay? So if I bend her wrist now, make a fist as tight as you can possibly make it. Look how tight she can make it, or not how tight she can make it. You see? It's impossible, okay? So bent wrist don't make fist. No fist, no strength. Okay? It's just a fact. If you can't make a fist, you cannot get your strength. Not in your hands, not even in your elbow. Okay? Here's some anatomical rules. Make your elbow straight so I can't bend it. You see? Don't let me bend it. So if someone's much bigger, much stronger, don't let me bend it. How did I bend her wrist or elbow? I turned her wrist. I broke her strength because I didn't tack where she's strongest. I tacked something else to break the influence of keeping it. No, keep it straight. No matter how strong, okay? No matter how strong, again, you can do this experiment. Take their wrist, bend the wrist, and you see the elbow bend. No matter how strong they are. This is the way the anatomy works. Same thing, if she makes a fist, okay, I can't bend her wrist. So what happens if the wrist is so strong? Take the thumb. Thumb goes, wrist goes, elbow goes, even the shoulder goes. Okay? So that's understanding human anatomy. So this is what we want to do. Okay? We want to take the curve, never go in a straight line. Drive a spiral. Go forward while making a curve at the same time. So if I pull, she's going to go forward at the same time. She's going to place her hand and she's going to roll it right on top and press that arm down. And that's how she gets get very fast. Now, the motion, as you get better, the motion becomes smaller, faster. So it's like you can make it real fast. You don't have to make it this big in the beginning. It's okay because you're not used to it, but eventually you got to make it smaller. Because the smaller you make it, not only the faster, the more power you can generate. The torque that's smaller can generate more power. So if you can get the same speed and make the torque smaller, you can create much better power. So when we're doing this, she's going to curve. Do not move the elbow backwards. If you do, your energy is going to your shoulders. Right. And then so if she goes up and goes backwards, go up and go backwards. But bring your hand up though. Okay. So you can see she's getting pushed. So she has to drive forward, okay, and turn. It's like, and then place her hand, and then she'll press down. And that's how you can escape. Now it works both ways. What happens if I grip her this way? She can do the exact same thing. Come up the same side on the inside, hand goes in, press down, and no matter how strong a person is, no matter how powerful they are, if you follow the motion and press in, like I said, see how I just kind of make a back clap, like that? So just a back clap and just follow it down. No matter how strong, you can take the biggest, strongest guy. But remember, if you find that it's like, hold me tight, and you go, it's not working. Am I curving her while I'm going forward? Am I going backwards? You must always drive forward energy and curving that forward energy. So think of a screw. You must turn while you advance. You must advance while you turn. You cannot go backwards, okay? If you go backwards, you're bringing energy to you. I want to bring it to her. So it's like, well, what happens if someone's so strong that they're so solid that you can't push into them? Understand this in terms of human anatomy motion. Put both your hands out so I can't push it in. Can't push it in. Can't push it in. Can't push it in. The human body cannot resist two motions at the same time. No, it's impossible. Okay, it's impossible. You just can't, especially when you don't know it. So, when somebody's gripping you, driving forward and turning is two separate motions. So they can't fight it. They can't fight it. They can counter curve you, but they cannot resist you. If I want just straight...
And they'd have to be very skilled to even
counter curve, yeah. But if someone's going to use her strength, and I just want, like I said, don't let me do it, and I want straight up, she can fight that. She can fight that right back down. If I just curve, she'll just naturally block me by turning her hand to the by turning her wrist down. If I do both, it's hard for her to do. It's very, very difficult. If a skilled person's there, they won't use their strength. They actually will counter curve you, but that's a skilled person. But in terms of strength, they cannot use their strength against you. Follow these principles, and no matter how big, no matter how strong someone is, never go backwards, always go forward. Always create two motions, right? A line and a curve. Always snake. I always say think, if you have a hard time, think of snaking into the hands. So this is what you want to practice. Hold me tight. So this is the techniques that you want. Instead of snaking, so don't let me do it. Okay? So you can see, and I don't bring my body away. The more I go away, the more control I lose. Keep it tight to yourself. Keeping it tight gives you better control. Further away from your body, the more control you lose. So you want to keep it very tight. It's here. See how I keep it very tight? She grabs it here. Keep it tight. No matter how fast or how strong someone holds it, if you do it quick and tight and keep it close within your frame, your body gets more control when it's closer. The further you go away from your body, the more control you lose. So you want to keep it within a close range, about 90-degree arm bend. So if you go from here to here, that's about good. You start to go like this, you guys are going to lose control. Okay? So this technique is a technique that will help you no matter how big, no matter how strong someone is. Learn to control the energy, you can learn to control your opponent. That's what we teach you. This is what you want to learn. And then size won't matter. Okay? Not unless he's like 10 foot tall.
And can we do another quick thing?
Yes.
We did this in another video, but I think this would be good for them. The one where this, because I think this is probably a common thing.
It's not. Okay. When someone grabs you from behind, the fastest way to do it is create distractions on the opponent so they can't keep focus. Try to fight him. He's mentally alert and ready to fight resistance.
They probably intentionally are doing this to you for whatever.
They're doing their body's hard. Their focus is to make sure that everything goes where they want to go, so they will use everything they can. So you don't want to fight them on the motion. You want to control the motion. Now, how do we control the motion? Again, 1, you must learn to work with it. 2, you must learn to manipulate through curving techniques. And 3, you want to create forward pressure, never backwards pressure. If you create backwards pressure, you're allowing it to come into you. Forward pressure brings it away from you. So those are the things you want to do. Okay? So let's do a scenario.
Okay.
I think we did it. If you've got a guy or girl grabbing you, and naturally they pull you backwards. Nobody really goes like this goes. And pushes you forward. So most pulls, if you get it, is backwards into you like this. And that's common. Natural thing that we always do is go here. They grab here. Why? Because that's where all the danger is. That's where the presence of danger to them is. It's not their chest. It's not their elbow. It's the hand covering their mouth. Because they want to scream. They so help, and they can't because the hand's here. They're feeling the worst pressure coming to them like this. Or they might cover their nose and they can't breathe. So you got to secure this, and it's instinctive to do that, so that's fine, okay? Now, we want to go from here, because that is your instinct. We want it to go from the instinctive point to the training point. From here, the most vulnerable spots are the eyes, face, and then to anywhere. If you do this, go like this to yourself, and just tap yourself, and see where it doesn't bother you, or it doesn't hurt. Now, take your hand, and you take your thumb, like you want to hitchhike, but instead of putting your thumb up, you touch it towards your first finger. You just want to, from here, jab, create a jab. So a practice that you can do from here, and I got her here. She's just going to jab me, and you can practice this at home. Just go jabbing. So do it again, jab. Oh, that was good. That one I did not like. Go. I'm not faking it, by the way. I don't fake it. Okay, so. Hit. Good. That's good. See, that's good. What she's doing is good. Now, if she did it where she swung her elbow out, the energy won't go in. It will go around me, and that's not good. So she wants to keep her arm right where she is, and she's just gonna kind of do a hard hitchhike straight in. So like that, and that's gonna be enough to really distract the guy from being a pull. She's gonna then from there create either an elbow strike or a groin strike, while at the same time taking the pressure and turning it. And the reason why she wants to turn it, because if he still has pressure towards her mouth, he can still subdue her. So by turning it, you're actually taking any pressure that comes at you, and you make it, instead of coming at you, make it come towards you. The difference between coming at is a focus point. Towards
Maybe using the momentum.
Around area, right. So coming towards you means around the area. Coming at is a specific point. He's choking you at your face. You're turning your body to make it come towards your face. So it's not a direct point into you. Okay? And the best way I can tell you how to pivot is for something to turn, like a seesaw, you have to have a pivoting point, right? If a seesaw was going like this and it was 5 feet in the air and all of a sudden I dropped this, is this going to fall like this? Or whatever angle it is, it's just going to drop.
Right.
It's just going to drop whatever angle it's at because it doesn't have a pivoting point. You must have a pivoting point to create a turn. Okay? It's simple. It's just science. Okay? So when we have this, if you can look, You don't have to cover my mouth.
Okay.
I can talk.
All right.
So you want from here, this shoulder and this arm, okay, will create the motion you need. The shoulder goes up to create the drive. It takes away her shoulder power. She's squeezing me hard. Okay, just come on my chin.
Yeah, okay.
Squeeze me hard. Now you see how she is? Now let's do it again. Okay, let's do it again. Squeeze me hard. Squeeze me hard. Okay? The raising of my shoulder cuts off her power supply, so to speak. It stops her from being able to use all her strength in her body. So raising a shoulder is a means to actually canceling out her strength. The second part is where your hand is, that's your pivoting point. That's how you can take someone, squeeze me tight, here, and turn them. No, don't let me do it. Don't let me do it. Okay? I'm telling you, don't let me do it. Okay? So the turning of the body will create a pivoting point where instead of them coming right into your face, it's going towards your face or around your face in this case. And again, if you do it right, the hand that rests is only at rest. It is not a pulling point. So you're not trying to pull or yank it. If you do, you can't pivot. Okay? It's either a pivoting point or it's going to be a tugging point. The tugging point is going to be your shoulder. That's what's going to make the energy move. The hand on them is what's going to make the energy pivot. So it's very important that when you get this, and if she gets here, right, she's going to strike me first, right? She's going to get the first strike. Now she's going to just slip her hip out of the way by taking a step aside and turning her body, which is now she can hit the solar plex, the groin. Now, the hand here is very important. The reason why I say, well, can't they re-grab you? If you have your shoulder up and you have it here, I'm going to try to bring it back to your face. Don't let me.
Okay.
And you can see it's not a direct motion anymore.
Right.
Okay? It actually is spinning. Now, obviously, hit him the groin, hit him there. The final move is you just want to kind of, where you hold them, just slip over your head. So when we're like this, okay, so she gets the stab, she's going to turn her body, and she's just going to slip after the hit and just go right out and underneath. And then she can kick me, punch me, whatever. If she's very good at what she does, she can knock me down and beat me up. Okay, so this is a very simple technique. Now, it's like, well, what happens if someone's in the car?
Right.
What happens if I'm in the seat? That there's a lot of scenarios, there's a lot of things, but that's what we'll have to cover and work with you guys in the
Yeah,
video.
actually, if there is any specific scenarios that you'd like us to cover for you, please let us know in the comments below or email us at support@entershaolin.com if it's something more private that you don't want anyone knowing that you've been through. We'll definitely cover it for you.
Yeah, and again, this is all about understanding how to work energy. Size is not a factor. Anyone who tells you who is trained to size matters, it's because they can't beat anybody bigger than them, and so they say it matters because they don't have an answer to it. Size does not matter to most degree. Now, obviously, if a guy's 200 feet tall and 800,000 pounds, yeah, of course that matters because really, in the end, is your structural integrity able to move his force?
Right.
It's all physics. Okay, this has nothing to do with religion or what you believe. This is science. There's no question. This is all about science. If we can't prove it to work through science, we don't teach it. I always teach my students techniques that if a woman can't do it to a guy, I don't teach a technique because it's all strength based. It has nothing to do with it. The Chinese have a saying, 4 ounces can move 1,000 pounds. You just need to know how. Okay? And the same thing I was talking about, the human body. I may not be able to strong enough to bend her elbow just because she's stronger than me, but I don't have to attack it directly. I attack here, I took that. And again, this is science. This is not about what I believe. This is what is, okay? And this is how it works. Our body has a specific way it works. Our muscles work a certain way, and we can understand how to manipulate that. We can learn how to control that, and we can control that. Then we can learn to take charge of the situation. Okay, there are a lot of things about the human body that we have to learn and understand about control versus strength, about power versus force. All these things that if you break it down and you understand how to manipulate, you don't have to worry about them anymore because you're really, the most important thing I always tell my students is what's the one word that would describe what you're trying to do. Okay, in martial arts, some people say peace. Some people say joy, balance. That's all good. I'm not going to say no. But the one word that best helps describe everything, that you will have peace, you will have balance, you will have, all this stuff, is the word is control. Okay? Control. If you're in control of everything, you are at peace. If you're in control of everything, you have balance. If you're in control of everything, you have, Zen. You're in one. Okay? So it's all about learning how to control, not your opponent. First, you have to learn to control yourself, and then you control the others. It's just like example, like for example, this is control what I'm talking about. She pulls me, that's not controlling.
No, it's you panicking.
She pulls me, I learn how to control my body. I learn how to move with that energy. No matter how she grabs me somewhere, right? I don't do this. My control is in how to manipulate her through me. So if I'm like this and I manipulate, I can do that. I'm not fighting her, I'm fighting with her. I always like to say a good practitioner is a considered practitioner. He's always saying, what do you want to do with it? Where do you want to go with it? I'll work with you with it. I'm not fighting against you.
Right.
I'm learning to work with you. Okay? So it's like she's pushing me, right? And I go pushing me, and I push back. Of course she's going to bounce me, because why? For reaction? Opposite reaction. So long as there's resistance pushing me. Instead, I control it. I use arcing techniques. I like to call it the Olay technique. She comes at me, Olay, I just wipe to the side. I'm not here to stop her. I'm not here to fight her. I'm here to manipulate her. And once I can manipulate her, I can then control her. And now I control you, I can control the outcome. Okay? So, guys, if you have any questions, we're here to help you. And girls, we're here to help you. So, thank you for watching very much.